Magdadrive ako hanggang Baguio. Magdadrive ako hanggang Bicol. Magdadrive ako hanggang Batangas.
Hi guys! How are you?
Good.
Excellent.
How's your stay in Tarlac?
I've been to... Hi, we're here now in Camp O'Donnell in Capas, Tarlac. Camp O'Donnell. During the Japanese occupation of the Philippines in World War II, Camp O'Donnell was the final stop of the Bataan Death March and was used as an internment camp for Filipino and American prisoners of war. Around 20,000 Filipinos and 1,600 Americans died at Camp O'Donnell. Filipino and American soldiers were said to have been beheaded in front of open graves. It was liberated by the U.S. Army and Philippine Commonwealth Army on 30th January 1945. We are leaving now Camp O'Donnell till our next historic trip. Hi everyone, you're here in the Season Auditorium in Lingayen, Pangasinan. The Season Auditorium, constructed in 1926 to 1927, named after former Pangasinan Governor Teofilo Sison, and was renovated under the supervision of Governor Espino, in which will serve as a venue for local or national cultural conventions and shows, as well as a venue where historical documents and practices of the province in its 430th years of existence.
Hi everyone! You're here in the historic Lingayen Golf.
The Lingayen Gulf. The invasion of Lingayen Gulf was an Allied amphibious operation in the Philippines during World War II. In the early morning of January 6, 1945, a large Allied force commanded by Admiral Jesse B. Oldendorf began approaching the shores of Lingayen. U.S. Navy and Royal Australian Navy warships began bombarding suspected Japanese positions along the coast of Lingayen from their position in Lingayen Gulf for 3 days. On January 9, the U.S. Sixth Army landed on a 20-mile beachhead between the towns of Lingayen and San Fabian.
That's all for Lingayen Golf. Till our next historic trip. Bye!
How about you two? Tell me about Quezon City Memorial Circle and University of the Philippines.
We've been to University of the Philippines and we saw...
Hi guys! I'm Carmela. I'm here at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. And behind me is the oblation.
UP Oblation. The University of the Philippines' renowned landmark, the Oblation, is a masterpiece of national artist Guillermo Tolentino. In 1935, Guillermo was commissioned by Rafael Palma to craft a monument that would express in visual from the second stanza of Jose Rizal's Mi Ultimo Adios. The concrete statue, painted in bronze, stands 3.5 meter high to represent the 350 years of Spanish colonization of the Philippines, on a pile of rocks symbolizing the islands of the Philippines. Funding for the statue was raised through a 2-month fund campaign that garnered 2,000 pesos. The model for the statue was widely rumored to be Fernando Poe Sr., though there are sources that claim that the real model was Guillermo's student apprentice Anastasio Caido.
Right now, I'm here at the three women sewing the first Philippine flag. This is one of the famous works of Napoleon V. Abueva.
Three Women Sewing the First Philippine Flag is a sculpture depicting the creation of the country's banner. It is also Abueva's rendition of Fernando Morsolo's The Making of the Philippine Flag.
This is
Untitled piece by national artist Abdul Mari Asia Imao in front of the Vargas Museum. Calligraphic in form, this large-scale piece rests atop a concrete platform. It is the first work to greet museum visitors once they enter the driveway. It gives vision to the museum building and the sprawling ground beside it. This work is an example of the Philippine modern sculpture that expresses Muslim ethnic identity through abstract form. As chronicled in Pashal, a monograph on public art in the university, this brass piece combines three themes from Islamic iconography. One is the five-pointed star atop the structure, reminiscent of the Sari Mosque. The core of the sculpture evokes the figure of the Sari Manok, a mythical rooster carrying a fish in its beak. The curvilinear shape reminds us of the motifs Paco Rabong and Naga from the Tausug and Maranao wood carving traditions.
This is Artifact X.
Artifact X by Cian Dairit. It is a gigantic bird feet atop circular platforms can be seen on the hilly front lawn of the Vargas Museum. Roundish scales are incised on concrete surface, their jagged layers highlighting concrete's bulk. This treatment of materials shifts attention to talons overhanging pedestals. Students fondly call the piece Adidas, referring to chicken feet, one of numerous leftovers from chicken meat sold as street fare alongside innards and chicken blood interestingly called Betamax.
This is Magdangal, another of Beva's work dubbed as a Blessed Muse.
The sculpture is among the latest additions on campus, keeping vigil in front of the Arts and Letters building. During its public inauguration in 2008, former CAL Dean Virgilio Almario said, "The sculpture stands for our country's great national will to free itself from the shackles of history and create a new horizon of hope." A plaque on Magdangal's pedestal was contained the words from Almario's poem, bearing her name as title, "Magbangon ka, aking mutya, mula dagat ng dalita, pairalin mo sa lupa ang tarong ragsak at laya." Almario said in the poem, the speaker calls on his beloved mutya, a native name for a precious pearl, to rise from the sea of sorrows and bless the land anew. The last three words come from three languages in the Philippines, describing the poet's hope for the country's future. Tarong is Bisaya for straight, the root word of katarungan, or justice. Ragsak is Ilocano for joy, and laya is the Tagalog root word of kalayaan, or independence.
This is the Spirit of Business of Napoleon Abueva.
Spirit of Business by Napoleon Abueva. The Spirit of Business is located in front of the College of Business Administration. It is also called as the ray gun. Signifies the act of moving forward in business and in entrepreneurship.
We are here at the Carillon. Carillon alludes to the monastic origins of UP and was dedicated to all living and dead alumni. And it was the first structure of its kind in Southeast Asia. Only carillon in the Philippines that is played with a clavier or wooden keyboard.
And also, bells were cast in the Netherlands. The largest bell weighs 5 tons. Played classics like Magtanim ay Di Biro, Beatles songs, and the famous labor anthem, La Internacional, during the Diliman Commune in 1971.
This is Fredes Brinda, the ASEAN boat.
Hidden behind the Vargas Museum, amidst an untamed lush, is a boat-like work of art called the Fredes Vinda. It is located in Abueva's former sculpture studio. The art once stood with several of the artist's works from 1978 to 1985, most of which had now been relocated. One critic described the work as a surreal tambayan. At a glance, it looks like an ancient boat with rib cages for its hull. The repetitive beams resemble the Romanesque arches of cathedrals in Europe. The Fredes Vinda we know today is a duplicate of the original work of Abueva, which was included in the first ASEAN Sculpture Symposium held in Fort Canning Hill, Singapore from March 27 to April 26, 1981. Nine Muses o Hardin ng mga Diwata, sculpted by Napoleon Abueva in 1994, is located in the front lawn of Bulwagang Rizal. The nine muses represent architecture, dance, film, literature, music, painting, photography, sculpture, and theater. They are placed on a ring-shaped pedestal hollow in the middle, allowing people to look at the sculpture from below. Alaala ng bayang Filipino sa mga bayani ng 96 or The Cry of Balintawak by Ramon Lazaro Martinez. The statue of a Katipunero found in front of Vincent's Hall is The Cry of Balintawak. It was made by Ramon Martinez between 1905 to 1911.
This is Marcel's sculpture, Captivity.
It is found at the intersection going to the Public Administration Building, and at the opposite end of the road, its partner Contemplation guards the entrance to the College of Fine Arts and Architecture. Captivity is Marcelo's rendition of Francisco Balagtas' Florante tied to an asoptry tree. From afar, the work simply looks like a man sitting on a slab of rock, but at a closer view, there are chains and shackles binding his hands and feet. In the 60s, the sculpture was an irony because of the great freedom on campus. During this decade, UP President Carlos P. Romulo gave the Philippine Collegian greater autonomy, striking down the administrative and editorial powers of the paper's faculty advisors. Kule was left solely on the hands of students.
You, tell her about the QC Memorial.
Quezon Memorial circles like...
Hi guys, I'm Angie, and right now I'm here at Quezon Memorial Circle.
Quezon Memorial Shrine. The tallest trial structure in Quezon City was designed by Filipino architect Federico Ilustre. The three vertical pylons of the 66-meter-tall monument correspond to the three major islands of the Philippines, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Each is topped with a mourning angel holding a sampaguita wreath, all crafted by an Italian sculptor named Francesco Riccardo Monti. Housed inside the two-story barrel-like base is a museum with the remains and other priceless treasures of the late President Manuel L. Quezon. The construction of this Carrara marble main monument was completed in time for the centennial of Quezon's birth in 1978 by the mandate of President Ferdinand Marcos. The site was declared a National Historical Landmark under the Presidential Decree No. 260. Peace Mosaic or Peace Wall by Muslim and Christian youth. Youth from the four communities under the PCFI Muslim Christian Dialogue Program, Tala, Kulyat, Quiapo, and Taguig, painted peace tiles that were installed on the Peace Wall at the Quezon City Memorial Circle. The wall was installed by the GCO Peace Institute, Gen Peace, and the Quezon City government to feature peace messages and symbols by youth all over the Philippines affected by conflict and or promoting peace.
How about you? What did you say about our stay here in Malolos?
It was great. Hi guys, we're here at the Paraso Church, and I am Mark Gracie Ebio. This church is very well known not just here in the town of Malolos but also all around the Philippines. This church, we can see this church at the back of the old 10 peso bill.
It was the place where the Constitutional Convention of the First Philippine Republic took place.
Hi, we're still at the Paraso Inn Church. At my back is the Paraso Inn Museum, and on my right is the Paraso Inn Convent.
Its historical landmarks history museum is completely loyal to protecting the fruits of the Philippine-Spanish Revolution in addition to independence and democracy. Its ecclesiastical museum contains a collection of religious artifacts from the entire Bulacan.
Hi everyone, we are here in Emilio Aguinaldo E. Family Monument.
This Emilio Aguinaldo Monument is located in front of the Baraso Inn Church in Malolos, Bulacan. Emilio Aguinaldo Ifami is the first President of the Republic of the Philippines.
We're here at the Casa Real State in Malolos, Bulacan.
The Casa Real Shrine is located in Malolos, Bulacan. Throughout the duration of the First Philippine Republic, this shrine served as the National Printing Press and the National Museum. A printing press during the Malolos Republic, the Casa Real was restored in 1852 and converted into a municipal library. It is now a museum under the management of the National Historical Institute and serves as the final repository of still existing memorabilia.
It was a great experience.
So guys, did you enjoy our trip?
What's your favorite part of the trip?
We like that too.
Till our next trip. See ya!
Bye! We like that too.
Taylor next is Taylor next is
Like that too.
Ano sasabihin?
Alright, till our next trip. Bye. Goodbye. So, ano yung sasabihin? We've been to the University of the Philippines and we saw structures and we saw artistic statue there. Structures there pala. It's so very cute. Like me. Tell her about the Kissy Memorial. Mataas. Hi guys, how are you? Your trip?
What's your favorite part of the trip? What's your favorite part of the trip? What's your favorite part of the trip?